Hello and welcome to the Kayden Show, today's best country mix. And joining us is Crow Buntry. Hey guys, how are you today?
Doing good.
Doing great. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you so much for asking. So, kind of tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you got into music.
Well, we ended up meeting in Nashville, Tennessee about going on 15 years now ago, and met some of the other band members here, and then kind of everybody went out in their own way and spread out across the country again, and then we came back together and started writing some songs. So
That's kind of where it
uh,
fell into place, or kind of fell out of place for a while there. Because when you're in school for it and you're constantly doing it, you don't realize what a gift it is to have that many writers around you, co-writers or producers or whatever
Mhm.
situation is. And so when you don't have that for several years and somebody gets an idea, hey, let's start writing some songs again. And like, like our leader here just said, it's just everybody spread all over the country. But that's the great thing about today's social media. One of the great things.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely, because you can connect with really anyone now, all over. So,
yeah, I mean
you can,
we could be sitting in different rooms in different states, three different states right now, having a nice conversation, and
yep.
that's pretty much what we base all of what we do around is that point of being able to, you know, uh, it also gives a bunch of perspective on the writing front to say, okay, what's going on up there? What's
Hmm.
happening here? And I think people need a lot more of that in their lives.
Hmm.
for sure.
Maybe
I,
not a lot of it to where the point where it gets like super addicting and like super, but also it is good to have in your life. So.
Yeah, and I mean, we do all see each other,
Mhm.
a couple times a year. People get together, and I was just down in Florida seeing Crenshaw, our lead guitarist, a
Mhm.
little bit ago, and Ray comes up and he sees me in Nashville, and every now and again we make it down to Texas to see the Texas crew. So it's a
that, boy, that's a crew down in Texas.
it is.
Everything, everything's bigger in Texas, that's for sure. Um, Guitars, egos, whatever you want to say.
Mhm. Mhm.
um,
Even the sky.
even the sky. That's right.
Mhm.
Um, so are you somebody that like you just love music in general, or are you more into the country format? I was just curious myself.
Sure. I mean, I like all different kinds of music. I grew up with country and I've always loved country. So, but like all different types.
And so a Bostonian grew up on country music.
Pretty much.
Cool. That's
Yeah,
great.
hey, let me tell you, it's sure I'm not the only one. There's people here in Massachusetts that grew up with country, so I'm not most of it isn't, but most is. So,
We've got a band member right up there, actually two right up there with you.
That's right.
mhm.
I
Yeah.
forgot about that. You have so many members, or whatever. Sometimes you forget about certain people. I forget about states that they're in. Like
Mhm.
right now, I'm in Arkansas
Mhm.
with some family, and Magpies in Tennessee and Nashville. We were going to try to have one more guy on there, but he's down in Texas and trying to build a house. And again, it's bigger in
Mhm.
Texas. It's always a big deal.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's okay. So kind of tell us a little bit about your favorite and least favorite part about being a musician, guys.
I'll let you start off on that one.
um, um, you know, I think to keep it simple is, and that's so funny because he's probably gonna laugh, but it is about simplicity. But it seems like you have to go either, they call it either an A or a U. So you
Mhm.
start here and you're writing,
Mhm.
and you enjoy that part of that spark, that 10% they say is genius and 90% hard work for the
Mhm.
idea of a song. And after a few lines, or maybe the next morning, you're like, what was I thinking? But then you go down this path where somehow you get 180 degrees away from where you started.
Mhm.
So it takes time, and Magpie is like, he's one that is always like, you got to let it marinate. Well,
Mhm.
I had never heard that term before, except cooking chicken or steak or whatever.
Right. Mhm.
And so it's true. It's like you start off and everything seems clear, and then everything, for me at least, gets very muddy in the middle. And I'm one of those people that definitely has to have somebody, not always, but I have to have somebody that will say, okay, step away from it, let's try this or whatever. So the great part that I love about this industry and music in general is the creative part, keeping it simple, but keeping it simple sometimes in this modern day music scene is quite, it can be quite hard. And I think if you get stuck on that, you're not going to create anything great. So you just kind of keep on trucking down the same path, and if you go down there, you can always come back, if you don't like it. And then the worst, and then the best, I think that's the best part. It's the best and the worst, because you have maybe Magpie, you can explain it a little bit more.
I mean, I think for me, the best part of it is being able to connect with people and connect with the truth in a way that's universal and human. I mean, I think that's what music and art in general is there for, is for us to connect with each other in a way that is just speaks to the most basic and the most simple, kind of what Ray was saying. But then I think the worst part for me is just I get impatient, and I hear stuff that
he does,
that I can't generally get out exactly how I want it right off the bat, and then I get a little impatient with it. But that's how it goes. That's kind of the name of the game that we play, and in the long run, after being impatient for a little bit, and when it actually all comes together, then you have
that dip.
You have a real payoff for it, because it connects with people, and you get to enjoy the fact that that you've done something and brought something into the universe from nothing.
Contributed.
Yeah.
I think that I'll bring up, I was born and raised in Arkansas, which is, heavily country. It's heavily this and that. I listened to it growing up, but it was not the first thing I listened to. The things that, that I grew up listening to were honestly like top 40 pop, more than country. But it's funny, I think being, from an hour from Memphis, which is a huge, music city on its own, and also being 40 minutes from Johnny Cash's hometown, like there's something ethereal about, the Man in Black and that whole scene that he has. But then you take an artist like today, I guess it's, like the frustrating part, like the great part is, like you said, connecting. But I wanted to add this, that the frustrating part, I guess, is, or not frustrating, but the part that I think is missing is you have artists that come out with this great music, left, right, and sideways, and then you have an artist like Adele who comes out and it's great, this and that, but the market is so saturated with music because anybody who's got $500 can go out and purchase things to create with, which is wonderful. It's wonderful, but it also creates a sea of how can people find you? You know what I mean? How often do we say that in our conversations on, especially with social media, YouTube and stuff? Click the Patreon link, do this, do this, do this. Everybody's doing that. So this was also a way for us to get out of this mold of like, the typical music that you'd hear, because this is not what we are. I don't think we're very typical at all. I think we're quite atypical.
Yeah.
Definitely everyone has their own, personnel, and I think that's great. Having their own personal, and that's what makes music great. Like everyone has their personal gift to it, if you will. So
that's very true, especially within, a band situation, even a duo. Never mind. What do you think?
I definitely agree.
Yeah, I definitely think that's true. And then I think that, what makes a good song, is based upon each person's individual kind of subjective point, so like, you may have somebody who says, well, all I really want is a good beat, and then you may have somebody who's like, well, I need some lyrics that speak to me. So I mean, it all depends on that front. I don't know that there is a right answer on any of that. Like for me personally, I'm definitely old school. I like a lot of old school stuff. I like, Hank Williams Sr. I like Johnny Cash and Patsy Cline and all that stuff. But I also like to see the stuff that's come from that, and where the path goes.
I think we're a product, and not in the bad sense, but we're a product of that.
Yeah.
We, I think you're with with music, with me, and I think with anybody. If you find yourself using half your life half your time doing music, it's more than just a hobby. You want to create, and like Magpie said, you want to contribute something, whether it's within the band or just contribute something to the world. It's wonderful that we can all just agree on, which is so hard to do these days.
Totally.
Definitely.
That's funny. I think I saw online. I saw there's a bar here, I'm from Jonesboro, Arkansas, and there's a bar downtown, and posted apparently on their jukebox or whatever is no Christmas music until December 1st, and we will only play Mariah Carey's Christmas song once a night. And I just think that's so funny, and just a little tidbit. I just thought that was really funny. Like, they were emphatically saying, we will play this one time, and that's it. All I want for Christmas is you.
That's one time too many a night for me.
Yeah, he would. But see, I'm, he's definitely more traditional, and that's for Magpie and I, as far as team writing and that kind of thing. I think that's the good parts between us, because he often goes to the same key, to start a song, but I know he's starting it. It may not be that key at the end of the day when the song's finished, but I don't have a central point to go to. So if he comes in with this idea and I have this, I don't know, it seems to work its way out. That you thing I was talking about, at the end of the day, when you're done with it, it's like you look back and you're like, oh wait, that's exactly what I started to create and forgot about.
Yeah, when you kind of look back after, like, you spent anywhere from a year to 6 months to a year working on a song, and taking it from the songwriting process through the production process, through the fine tuning, through the getting mastered and out into the world. And sometimes you turn around at the end of it and you look back and you're like, whoa, like, that started as that.
Holy cow. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but
do you remember, I'm just curious, Kayden, do you remember like hearing a country song when you were younger and you're like, oh, I like that? Or when you say you like all styles, like if you picked up your iPad or your phone, what's on it? Like what influences you? I'm just curious.
Okay, yeah, sure. We can twist it. We can twist it for a few minutes. That's fine. Definitely what's influenced me. Definitely country. One of my influences, Luke Bryan. So yeah, I like country. I like not too much into the pop, but I like it. I mean, I like it. It's not like anything that I really enjoy. I enjoy, but I don't. But I prefer country. But yeah, other than that, I think that's pretty much what influenced me. Luke Bryan, Carrie Underwood, all the newer stuff. So
it's really about, in your shoes, it's kind of like about the stories.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, did you see that story about Luke Bryan? I think it was last week, where he pulled over and he helped this woman on the side of the road.
I did. Yes, I did see that.
I mean, that is the most genuinely gentlemanly and country thing that any man could do.
Right.
He gets major points in my book on that one. And he didn't do it because he was, because he knew that it would get out there that he did it. He did it because it was the right thing to do. And I think that's a good thing in the world to have, and especially in somebody, I don't know if you've watched his documentary yet, but it is, you learn a lot about him.
Really?
He's been through it. No.
Yeah. It's on, I think it's out on, it might be on Amazon, I think.
Okay.
But you should watch it. Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
I definitely do want to watch it. That's for sure. That's really interesting.
Oh,
yeah, I learned some stuff about him I didn't know off of that. So it's a real,
I watched it too, and I think it's really, really, really personal, and it's a side of him that we don't get to see very often.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Where he lets us in,
right,
on the wrong, things that went bad during his growing up, and I'm not going to say anything more than that, but just he's been through some shit, to be honest. He's been through some
Actually
stuff.
has something in common with Johnny Cash on that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Without
For
going
sure.
into all the details, but yeah.
Yeah. But see, sitting here to my right, you know, I bought John Mayer's new album because I thought it was really great, and I also thought it was awesome because it was clear. You ever seen a clear vinyl?
I don't know if I have, but I'm sure you guys have many times.
until I bought this one, I had never seen anything like it. Like I knew that they could do it, but I
That's
just
part
thought
of their gimmicks now is to print them in different sets. I've got a Rolling Stones reissue of that's in clear and a couple, but I'll always go back to my traditional, just regular, old school vinyl.
yeah, it doesn't have to be spectacular, and that's another thing. It's like
does printing it in a different color make it sound different? Hell no.
Yeah.
But
I guess you could do what Shania Twain did, and you could produce
very
different
true,
mixes.
Very true.
Yeah, you know.
Definitely.
So I'm trying to think if we have. I don't know if we have, if we can even say it yet on the day that we're releasing Magpie. We probably don't need to. I don't know. I'm not always the boss. I just think I am sometimes, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, the single release date isn't set yet completely in stone, but it's getting there. We can say that it'll be early next year is when this new song's coming out, and then we'll soon followed by a couple others that'll be more towards the acoustic, like kind of a classic country acoustic sound on a couple songs.
As a piano player, I'm ready for a ballad, and we have some. We just haven't had a full, you know, piano thing.
Yeah,
you know, and I think, you know,
we have a couple in the works of that. Yep.
Yeah. We've talked about it for the past year because I'm sure, you know, singers like you've heard singers like Patsy Cline, like he just mentioned, or any of these. I think what gets me in country is like the story. You know, one thing that I can think about is Chris Stapleton when he released Fire Away, that music video, because he doesn't do music videos. That music video and the way he did that song, first as a ballad and then he put the guitar on it. It's so unique and so different. If you haven't caught that video, you should. It's definitely a good one. You know, he goes to the source of, you know, mental health in that video, and just, you know, how it's, you know, I think there's a side of people who listen to country, maybe they're not musicians, but listen to country and think, well, you just pull your bootstraps up, and that works for sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. Like this past year and a half, all of us as a united world have been through hell and back, plus our own paths that we, you know, had. You know, I lost my father last year. Is a terrible time, you know, and the only thing that I could count on at the end of the day for sanity was creativity. Even if it was crying my eyes out over the piano when I was trying to write a song for my dad or whatever, you know, whatever the case may be.
Absolutely. And guys, is there anything else that I forgot that you'd like to share with us today before we go?
I don't think so. I think we've covered some good bases here.
If you would like any more information about our stuff or anything, we'd love to work with you some more. Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, and like we're on all the social media stuff and on Spotify and all that stuff to check out the tunes, and you know, it's a collaborative project. There's, you know, 20 of us or so now involved all around the country, so
Jesus,
you'll get different you'll get different feelings from different people and from different areas of the country as we move forward with some of these new songs. So it's not just, you know, we've got actually a couple people out in LA now who are interested, which you think, oh, LA is all pop, and it's actually funny. There's some country out there now. And then I was just doing some research online for my job, and there are literally bars in New York City that are like the Nashville Lounge, where you go in for a honky tonk time, and so it's country's everywhere. It's all over the world.
It is, and I think Nashville. That's the great thing about Nashville is everybody wants to move there, but Nashville, instead of, well, they did, frankly, if you want to be truthful, everybody's freaking moved to Nashville, but at the same time, because Nashville's full, you know, like you said, the Nashville Lounge, the Nashville whatever, out in different parts of the country. So yeah, you can find us on any of that kind of stuff any day.
Yep, definitely.
Well, I just want to thank
You'll
you
have to come down
guys
and
so
visit
much.
sometime.
What was that?
You'll have to come down and visit in Nashville sometime.
Yeah,
I
for
would love
sure.
to at some point. I would
Go out
definitely
honky
love
tonkin'.
to.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it sincerely.
Yeah.
Well, again, I just want to thank the Crow, Buntry, for joining us right here on the Kayden Gordon Show, today's Best Country Mix. We truly appreciate your time to talk with us today.
Thanks for having us. I appreciate you.
Appreciate it.